Do you know, Joe, what a 6.9 is?
No.
Something a period fucked up. See, it's, you know, you want beef and broccoli at 2:30 in the morning? Hey, this is Jacques.
Joe.
And welcome to Carnival Personnel. Joe, thank you. Joe had to make the incredulous journey to my humble abode, so it's going to be interesting. I think it's been a year and a half since we did the podcast from the Nerdseum.
I think so. The last time we did the podcast away from there was, I think, the clowns.
Our friend Tracy.
Yes.
Clown named Funbags. By the way, she and management are going to go see It next weekend when management is back from Vegas.
It Chapter 2.
It Chapter 2. I will not be making. Did you see it?
I did on video.
And
it's good. Yeah.
Scary?
Yeah, and it's creepy. Like, I don't get scared. This is like one of those horror movies that's like kind of scary. It's scary, but for me, like, it's not like jostled my soul kind of scary. You know, it's creepy. And it's good. It's mainstream scary.
No. Pass.
Okay.
Pass for me.
Yeah, your clown movie is Joker.
No. Shakes a clown. I mean,
wait, the Citizen Kane of clown movies? Fuck.
Take two.
The Citizen Kane of clown movies?
I mean,
alcoholic clown movies. Fuck.
Take three.
You mean the Citizen Kane of alcoholic clown movies?
The Bobcat Goldthwait masterpiece. Have you seen it?
I've seen half of it or 3/4 of it.
So I was thinking, Joe's going to crash over here. I was telling management, I might make him watch Dawn of Justice because I don't think you've seen it. Did you see Batman vs. Superman? Did you see the Justice League? Yeah, so I might make you watch that, I was thinking. Or I told her I might make him watch Megamind, which he claims to have seen,
I've seen it,
but doesn't love.
That's fine.
And if I explained, maybe it's because I'm not there explaining the subtle nuances and saying each and every line just seconds before, which makes it better. But maybe we'll watch Shakes the Clown. Florence Henderson, small role, but
I've seen that part. Yes, and Adam Sandler's in it.
That's
who else?
right.
Barry Crimmins in it. I don't know.
It is. It's one of those things where there's a lot of Bobcat friends from the stand-up circuit and stuff that are in it that are just.
You hear Jerry Seinfeld is not a fan of Bobcat.
Really?
Yeah, on the latest Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee on Netflix, there's an episode with Bridget Everett. She's a comedian and kind of like a burlesque body kind of dancer / singer / comedian. And they're talking, and she brings up, I'm friends with, or she's friends with Bobcat, but they bleep Bobcat's name because he trashes the shit out of him.
Wow.
It's pretty easy to figure out who they're talking about. Obviously, the internet figured it out.
I wonder.
I guess basically, I think his beef was that he was upset with. I think he thinks that Jerry thought that Bob was upset with him because Bobcat's act was shallow. Like he had to go into a character, and then when he wasn't the character, he couldn't tell jokes. You know what I mean? So
right.
Without the character, there was no comedian there. And I don't know. There's some
was it like a snobbery thing?
No, it was a hatred. This is you don't see Jerry Seinfeld, right? But I don't think
some people hate prop comics, like Carrot Top. Have you ever seen Carrot Top?
Yeah,
pretty fucking funny.
Yeah,
but lots of comedians hate him because he has to use props to be funny. It's like I think funny are funny. I mean, no, we both agree women aren't funny.
I do.
Did you see that?
I agree with you, lady.
Did you see that clip that went around all over Twitter last few days? I don't know who these fucks are.
Oh, right.
It's 4 guys smoking cigars, drinking whiskey, in the Blazers, the douchebag.
Gentlemen Too Evil.
Yeah, like that. And it's a round table thing. It's on some right-wing thing. And these are quote-unquote comedians. And I mean, I tried to watch the clip. It's like a 5-minute clip. And the whole discussion is how women aren't funny. And when when you use Dennis Miller as a reference point, and Dennis Miller, I guess, had said before, even as kids, if there's a bunch of kids in a circle in playground and you see them laughing, it's always a boy in the middle telling the jokes. It's never a girl. because girls aren't funny. And then, well, Sarah Silverman, her early stuff was funny, but she was mimicking being a man. She was more in a, like a, you know, in a masculine role. I'm like, well, I've always found her attractive and funny, so I guess I'm gay. You know? And then of course they thought Roseanne Barr is funny too, but she's kind of the exception. And it went, you know, that whole thing went around again. And it's like, and it's funny because Sarah Silverman commented on it. A bunch of other, you know, comics, you know, commented, and it's like just
I know, it's just going making the rounds, and it's just another example of misogyny, and we got to beat it down, and then whatever.
You know, you're entitled to your opinion, but you're a fucking moron. And I'm thinking, like, which, you know, do they go home to their wives? How was the taping of the show today? Oh, great. We talked about how women aren't funny, you know?
You think they talk to their wives when they go home?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Anyways, I'm kidding. I think women are funny.
Yes.
Just to be clear. Now, who was Jerry Lewis's favorite female comic?
That's an interesting question. There's so few.
Didn't he say Bob Hope? There's a famous clip.
Oh, right.
Where he's on a panel.
Oh, like Milton Berle or something.
Yeah, he's cornered like, well, no, he didn't say they weren't funny, but he was dancing around it. Well, who's your favorite female comic? He's like Bob Hope or Milton Berle.
Yeah, like right. I remember. I think he begrudgingly fell onto Lucille Ball as the de facto funny person.
Right.
But then, like, after Lucy stopped doing comedy or died, nobody else in the female gender could possibly do comedy.
So yeah, this I'm going to look up that Bobcat thing. I didn't know that they had a beef, but it's interesting, you know, because I like Bobcat. I've always, and I like when Bobcat, you know, has talked about, you know, that's not how I always talk.
Yeah, you know, he's a funny guy. So yeah, clowns.
Okay. So speaking of Jerry Lewis, Joe sent me, and I can't believe what a missed opportunity. Last weekend, we recorded just before Labor Day, and we have the 3 years we've been doing this. We talk about, you know, what a tradition and growing up. That was a huge thing to see how long you could stay up and watch the Jerry Lewis telethon, all this stuff. But you found quite the clip from 92?
I think it was 1992. It was part of a compilation of, you know, Jerry being Jerry on the Jerry Lewis Labor Day telethon, by the way. At one point, I guess, somebody who was like a gopher or like a PA on one of the telethons who later went on to become like a director or somebody, he was telling the story about how his job was to white out at the top of the script. There was a typo at the top of the scripts that Jerry was given during one of the telethons. And I think this was like 87. It said the Muscular Dystrophy Association telethon, or the Muscular Dystrophy telethon. And Mr. Lewis clearly stated that it should say the Jerry Lewis telethon. And this PA had to white out at the top of every page, muscular dystrophy, and type in Jerry Lewis. And this is on the script that, like, he's not reading this out loud. You know, he's...
Right.
Yeah.
It's just he needs it documented on every page.
Yes.
So talk about the clip.
So I'm sorry. So the clip was part of a compilation of Jerry being Jerry at the MDA telethon on Labor Day, and he, at one point in 1992, goes into this spiel about he has to thank, like, there's a ton of sponsors on these Labor Day telethons. You know, they would donate millions of dollars depending on who the sponsor was. And this particular sponsor that he was talking about was JVC, who, you know, they produce, you know, video equipment and video tapes, and their contribution to that year's telethon was providing all of the videotapes that the telethon would use to record and to, you know, in all sorts of production and whatnot. And so Jerry's talking about thanking JVC of America for providing the tapes to the telethon. And he goes, JVC of America. They're all Japanese over there, by the way. There's not one American on JVC of America. And then he goes on a little rant about how I'm thanking them for one videotape. They gave us one videotape that you could buy at a Kmart for $8.99, and we're thanking them for their contribution to the telethon. So for that, I say, a thank you, a JVC of America. And he does the teeth and the eyes and the accent, and it's
not dated or offensive at all.
It's truly the Krusty the Clown doing me so solly if you know what I'm talking about, you get it. That's pure Jerry Lewis. I mean, Jerry Lewis did. What was the with 3 you get egg roll? Was that the?
I don't remember the whole joke, but
no. There's a movie role where he plays like a Japanese like waiter or something.
Yep.
And I think it's with 3 you get egg roll is the name of the movie, or maybe I'm thinking I'm
gonna
conflating.
look that up.
Maybe that's Mickey
Yeah.
Rooney doing. I forget. I kind of hear these stories and these roles and these references secondhand through the Gilbert Gottfried podcast.
It does blur because I'm trying to remember what where I heard the stories, and who was it who was offered the telethon? They were going to boot Jerry Lewis without telling him, and he is
Tom Bergeron.
Tom Bergeron, and he's like, no.
Yeah.
And he did it because he respected Jerry so much, but at the same time, why am I going to partner with somebody who would treat Jerry Lewis like this?
Yeah, the legend.
He was always nice to me.
So yeah, the Jerry Lewis telethon. But right, we should have talked a little bit more about the Jerry Lewis telethons and just like how he would, chastise the cue card guy for showing like the wrong order. It's like or the band leader for Phil. When we come out of the videotape, I want you to give me some timpani, and then we go to the tote, but I know you're over there, smoking your crack or whatever. He wasn't that hip. I'm sorry.
He was brutal.
Yeah. He called he would jokingly at one time, he would take one of the camera guys around and give the audience a tour of the people doing the production. And it's like, our stage manager Lucy and there's our fag director Ard, fag, yeah,
right?
Yeah, but it was funny to him, which by the way, 10 years ago was funny to us.
Oh yeah. I mean, I still have Don Rickles on my Mount Rushmore of comedy legend idols. But when you see this, the funny thing about Don Rickles is he was called Mr. Warmth because it was jokes and he was a sincere guy and it was funny. There's those moments in this clip that Joe had sent me that are just mean. And I don't know if it's 4 a.m. on the second day and he's sleep deprived. But...
Well, it was only one, right? But it was one day. But it's he was I think somebody put it best when they said that in King of Comedy, that was the real Jerry.
Right.
That persona was, that Nutty Professor, actually Buddy Love was probably mostly, the real Jerry, that asshole, which, by the way, the Nutty Professor, I just started watching for the first time 2 days ago. I'd never seen the
Jerry Lewis one.
Jerry Lewis. I haven't seen the Eddie Murphy one either. But, all right, so far so good. I'm halfway through it.
So we missed talking about the Jerry Lewis thing, but it did make my Labor Day weekend watching that clip. And I didn't editorialize it at all. I just hit the button to highlight it, pressed forward, sent it to John and Biff, said, go to the 14-minute mark. Nothing offensive here.
I'm glad you sent it to Biff.
I had to, because I'm legally obligated. Any over the top adverse, really, it's funny because we're talking about this. My mom was here this weekend, and we did the thing, and there was a couple rugs, and she I'm trying to think, how she used the word Oriental. And my sister was really politely correcting her. My mom was getting a little upset. My sister was like, you're in a safe place. I'm just so that when you go out, maybe, and it is, it's, look, I've done it too. I've used the term for Native Americans. It isn't Native Americans a number of times in the past decade because but it was really funny. And then my management, whose mother, was a North Korean refugee as a child, she told my sister, it's how often, the last few years of mine, because it changed, had to tell her mother, no, you can't use Oriental. It's well, you can, but you shouldn't, and this is why, type thing, because things have changed. But I don't know when Jerry Lewis's Japanese impression became offensive, but I think in 92 we were pretty much.
I'm pretty sure 1946.
So that was part of my weekend. So thank you for sending that, because what is a Labor Day weekend without Jerry Lewis racist clips?
You're welcome. Enough.
So, what else do I want to talk about? Okay, I think we touched about this before, but it is dragging on, the battle of Spider-Man between Sony and Marvel, and I know when you're talking multimillionaires or billionaires or the government, when is enough? Like, who does taking Tom Holland out of the mix help in any way? Like, if Sony was to reboot Spider-Man, do you have a favorite Spider-Man? Because for me, it's this kid.
I'm pretty sure it's Tom Holland. Yep. I think, Tom Holland can still do Spider-Man movies, and so can Sony. It's just they can't take place in the Marvel Universe. So Tom Holland's kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Like, he gets to play Spider-Man, just not at the Marvel playground. Like he can basically, I think they want to do a Venom versus Spider-Man movie. And
take away all the Tony Stark. Because have you seen Far From Home?
Yes.
So that whole relationship with Tony Stark, which I mean, are you taking away Tony's suits? I mean, are you taking away all references to the Marvel universe in his thing? And
pretty much, yeah. I mean, I guess with Spider-Verse, they kind of can maybe have license to do that now, because maybe this is an alternate universe of Spider-Man. You can go that route.
Could.
I mean,
you shouldn't, but you could.
I know.
But it's like, how, with the, what are we on, phase 4 of the Marvel universe?
Yeah.
I want to see him in the Black Panther movies. I want to see him in, I mean, there's some TV stuff coming out, with Loki has a TV show. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Like, I think Winter Soldier and Captain America, but Sam.
She-Hulk.
Another Thor is coming, another Guardian. It'd be great if Tom Holland was somehow, like in Civil War. He wasn't a huge part, but he was a great part.
Yeah, it's just going to be another kind of weird missed opportunities. Like, you had something going, and now it's not quite right.
And who wins? I mean, because you are going to have people who aren't going to see it just because Sony is, and really, are you picking sides between Disney and Sony? I mean, it's Amazon, it's Sony, it's Google, it's Disney. Those run the world, I think.
Pretty much. I don't think, honestly, a good movie and a good story are going to bring the audience in. And people have short memories, and people forgive if the end product is justifiable. Like, if the ends justify the means, they'll be like, all right, it's kind of shitty that he's not in the Marvel universe. Man, what a great movie this was! Wow, did Sony turn this around? It's like, I got to hand it to Sony. And then there's going to be some dickheads online and be like, no way, man, Disney forever.
So Marvel can't step in and say, no, Tom Holland. We developed the Tom Holland version of Spider-Man. You can do Spider-Man, but you can't use. Who is he under contract to? Marvel? Or, I mean, and I don't know the details of it, but would he not be able to play Spider-Man? I mean, I thought that was it.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I think he's I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that. I'm not the guy's agent, but yeah, I would think because Sony has the movie rights to Spider-Man, that, yeah, right. Like, do they want to bring in like a new Spider-Man actor? Or, yeah, I know. It would be weird to have Tom Holland in a non-Marvel movie. Right, it's odd, it's weird, but oh no, I was going to say he can do X-Men, but no, they're Fox. So
right,
oh man,
yeah, I think they're doing. Have I heard they're doing a Fantastic Four too, which has always failed.
Yeah,
always failed. My favorite meme, by the way, do you remember Chris Evans was Johnny Flame in one of them?
Yeah,
and they took the meme from wasn't. Winter Soldier, where he jumps out of the building and he lands 20 stories down on the shield and he gets up and he runs away. But it has the meme him jumping out the building and he's like, flame on! And then it cuts to him on the ground and he's like, wrong movie. So we'll see. But no, I don't know if yes, Sony owns the Marvel property. Sony owns the Spider-Man property right now, but it's one of those things. Did Marvel develop Tom Holland as Spider-Man so you can't use him and you'd have to... I just hope not.
Right. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe, Andrew Garfield is in the background going, you know what? I'm still here, guys.
Either way, fuck you both. Figure it out.
Okay.
So moving on,
Meanwhile, you're going to be the first one in line to buy Disney
Shut up.
Plus. You're going to be buying Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah. No, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. The Mandalorian. Do we even talk? That we haven't talked about it.
No.
Because you don't really, you don't watch the previews and all that bullshit.
I do not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know the Star Wars universe is expanding exponentially.
Yep. And it's going beyond the last the Rise of the Skywalker movie, so it's going to continue forward from that with the Mandalorian, which I did see the trailer. It looks nice and it looks really like adult. It looks like dark. It doesn't look like Titan's dark, but it looks like okay, this is an adult. Like, I can get into this. There will be no Boba Fett spoiler because Boba Fett met his fate. Earlier on, but
yeah, was that on Tatooine that he died? Yeah, it was on Tatooine that he died. Right,
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but then there's always I don't know the full canon. I guess in the books he climbed out of there at one point allegedly.
The books are deemed non-canon anymore.
Oh, they're not okay. And
yeah, well, when Disney took over, they deemed all the expanded universe was gone, wiped away.
I guess. To that point, but then they relaunched it maybe because I have a book about Ahsoka that is in the universe that is Ahsoka who was
part of the Clone Wars
for 7 years was Anakin's Padawan and then left and it's funny because we've talked about this before. I think they did 6 seasons and then they didn't get picked up for a 7th season and then they did a 7th season and it was like a half a season and honestly it was the most self-indulgent. I love the Clone Wars. I really do. However, they painted themselves into a corner pretty good with a couple things on it where because it takes place between episodes 2 and 3. And in episode 3, of course, Anakin becomes and so
it becomes what?
and Luke Skywalker's father. And the Clone Wars, like I said, it's 7 seasons, but in between the movies, there was only like 3 years or 4, whatever it was, between episodes 2 and 3. And he had this assistant the whole time. And the last half a season, it was George Lucas kind of cleaning up his mess, kind of unraveling things. Like one of the last scenes, it's like Yoda tells Obi-Wan, it's like, hey, I just talked to Qui-Gon Jinn, who just before he died figured out how to put himself in the Force and be able to project himself. So someday if you die, we need to explain how you can talk to Luke Skywalker, that kind of thing. And at the same time, okay, so Ahsoka, who becomes a huge part of the Clone Wars, probably the second, third biggest character in the Clone Wars, how come she wasn't in the 3rd movie? It's like, where does she come from? So she's in the book, but then I was in GameStop a little while ago and they had a big poster for the new Star Wars game coming out. And the girl working behind, who's there, was saying, oh, yeah, she's excited about this because Battlefront, I think Chip Boy did not like Battlefront. I guess it was a little disappointing for a lot of reasons. I guess this one is supposedly in that universe and it's based on a Jedi from the books.
Okay.
So, and I will say, yes, girls who work at GameStop tend to be a lot more attractive when you meet them and they work in a GameStop than if you met them outside of a GameStop, I think, because they play games and they know about them. I could be wrong.
Why are you stating your attraction to a GameStop employee on the air?
I'm not. I'm just saying.
Oh.
It's the same thing. It's like when you find out somebody likes, an obscure band. Wait, you like Archers of Loaf?
Right.
You've just gone up 4 points. And
you're my best friend.
But speaking of music, I'm not in tune with music like the kids are, like, our friend Dan and Sean from the band or John Hunt, who are always listening to new music. I pretty much stopped when I got out of Fitchburg.
Yeah, took the needle off the record.
Hey, I got 10,000 great songs, but I guess Iggy Pop has a new album coming out, as does the Pixies. I don't know if I consider it the Pixies without Kim Deal, and I don't know if she's on this album. So that will be, because I literally just saw a blurb on the news. So
I couldn't tell you one Pixies song.
yes, you could.
I couldn't. If you gave me the titles of 3 songs, I
Yep.
could not pick out the Pixie song.
Okay, but we will test that. And that's why you were never in the band. Well, you were in Beyond It, but officially because that's how both John and Sean came into the band. They had to be able to play bass, and they learned both by playing Gigantic by the Pixies.
Okay.
But Iggy Pop. So here's the other thing. It's like I was at the gym the other day. Just walked in to see where I was spending my money every month and walked out. But on the screen, there's a commercial. I guess the Who was on tour. There are maybe 12 Who songs that are just the greatest songs ever. You could not pay me to go see the Who. It's like my mom's 75 and my dad's 80. I think they're between 75 and 80. Without looking them up, I'm pretty sure they're at least 70. Bare minimum, they're 70 to like 75. The 2 remaining, members of the Who, and they might be the coolest 75-year-old guys. The same thing with the Rolling Stones.
I was going to say, could you see the Rolling Stones? No, apparently not.
I saw.
Who could you see?
I don't know.
See?
Whoa.
Hey-oh.
Too high.
Wow, that is high. And it's going to be high.
I could see William Shatner. That's who I could happily see. I don't know. I don't like to pretty much go to things.
Yeah.
But if I was going to see, I'd go see U2 in a smaller club. If they played a smaller venue and didn't play anything after 92, I would go see that.
If Elvis Costello played in this room right now,
I'd stick around for a few songs. I don't even want to see us playing. Halfway through sets, ouch. Well, with friends like this, we're not friends. But so with Iggy Pop, I don't really know if it's on Amazon Prime or it's on Netflix, but there's a concert from a few years ago where he went back and he played Detroit for the first time in close to 35 years with the original Stooges. And it is great. And he looks great. And, by looks great, he still looks like the very, 5'3", completely toned, ripped, heroin junkie,
Wait. Heroin junkie, not hemorrhoid junkie.
I don't know. I'm not getting that personal, but I know at least the heroin. I don't know how excited I am about a record from a 70-year-old Iggy Pop, because he too is he's 70 plus. He's 75.
I'm with you.
Am I an ageist saying that?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm with you. I mean, it depends. It also depends on how much you've kept up with the artist as they've aged. If you stop listening to their music from 30 years ago and if they've been producing new music and you just haven't bothered to follow along with their journey, then maybe you'd be less inclined to be oh, okay, I'm not gonna, now just jump on the bandwagon. But it sounds like Iggy Pop's been not recording for some time.
No, every few years, and it's usually pretty okay. I mean, it's sad because. I when I say the early stuff, my favorite, 2 Iggy Pop albums came out before I was born or right around when I was born, 69, 70. And it is crazy how undated some of the stuff is. It's funny because my little guy has really gotten into the Ramones because the Ramones are used in Spider-Man and in the Shazam movie. And he was amazed that you could use the same song in both universes. And then there's and it's really funny because, he's the one who looks like Iggy Pop and stuff. And he started getting and it just blows me away that you listen to Iggy Pop's album, the Stooges, with the songs No Fun, 1969, Wanna Be Your Dog. And it predates the Clash and the Ramones and the Sex Pistols by 6-7 years. It's so crazy how ahead of the curve, Iggy Pop was. And this is, I could do a whole Iggy Pop podcast. I just might. He wrote some of the biggest David Bowie albums were written by Iggy Pop and stuff like that. So, like that said, I'll listen to him, but but I just think it's interesting. On one hand, I'm kind of excited about an Iggy Pop album, but when I saw the Who on tour, I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're a curmudgeon. You don't like to go out. That's one thing. But hey, you know what? You don't have to grow up and grow old. You just sort of stay frozen in that that 14-year-old mindset and just perpetuate that until you're 2 feet in the grave.
Done.
Yeah, and nobody's forcing you at gunpoint yet. Pretty much, I think that'll eventually be like law.
We'll get there. Yeah. Speaking about force, did the Straight Pride Parade, which we talked about last week. I only bring it up again because we had a party at our house, and the wife brought a pride flag, and she wanted us to fly it. We do have a flagpole here, so this isn't leading into
Straight Pride Flag.
Right, a rainbow, flag.
Or gay pride.
Gay
flag.
pride flag.
Oh, okay. You got to. You can't just say pride.
You can.
There's
I guess
two kinds of prides.
there really are fine people on both sides. It was a pain in the ass. I don't know how to hang a flag. Like, there's these ropes, and you got to hook this, and the pulley system. We've lived here for 2 years, so finally got it, flew it, and then she texts me. She goes, "I think you put the flag upside down," and I'm like,
"Which side is up?"
Right. Well, then
is it the orange stripe or the purple stripe?
Well, I had the purple stripe up, and I guess it's supposed to be
purple stripe down.
The red stripe. I don't know I don't know which side, which earring I'm supposed to pierce if I want, put on the knee pads.
So basically, you were just promoting homophobia.
I was right.
It's like hanging the American flag upside down, like your anarchy kind of.
So I did. I had to come, I came home from the gym, and I'm like, damn it, Christ, I have to climb up and do this damn thing again. Her friend came over, was gay, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm explaining to him, and he's like, "I don't think we care." Right. I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think I care either, but I just don't want people driving by, and it's like
you should have hung it sideways." It's just like,
and it does. It always makes me think of the, I do. I feel a little bad for the homophobic guy who loves rainbows, and they took him. They took that from him, I don't think there's a lot of.
Yeah, honestly, gay pride, an arrow would help. Maybe.
Yeah, right, exactly.
This side up.
I'm trying to be as woke and as progressive as possible. But you keep adding letters to
letters and colors.
Seriously, it's like, oh, you're gay, you queer, great. But now I have to remember there's a D and a G and like a silent Y.
I think there's an umlaut in there now.
German people aren't gay.
That's right.
All right.
We're not getting
enough of that. Okay, let's get into the good stuff. The fall of Western civilization. I don't know if I feel more worried about the end times or feel, okay, we're not the only fucked up fuckheads on the planet when you find out that the UK is truly, that flushing sound you hear is a democratic republic that's been around hundreds of years longer than us, flushing themselves down the toilet quicker than we are.
They call it the loo.
The loo. First. Thank you.
And, it's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine.
It as much as we joke, it's like, yes, Putin has won. Russia has won without firing a shot. Boris Johnson has truly gone out of his way. He wants to do, this no Brexit, no deal Brexit. He's only been in power for he hasn't been in power for a month. And as we talked about it, the way that they work, the Prime Minister, Theresa May, stepped down. And so they don't have a re-election. Just that party, elects somebody. So 168 people decided who's running the entire kingdom now. And he's had 3 on the parliamentary floor 3 initiatives to be voted on that have all been voted down. Like, he has failed miserably at everything. And in fact, they have a slight majority, but 20 of their brave conservatives, which you could never say here, openly said, I have to put my country above my party. I can't vote for this. One of which is, shockingly, William Churchill's, have you followed this? William Churchill's grandson, who was like the first one to say, yeah, no, this is insane. I can't back this. And it wasn't like he just went against the party. Boris Johnson has the ability, and he did, throw these people out of the party, which means they can't run on the ticket to be reelected. So siding against him was truly, truly throwing their political careers out the window. 100%. Until he resigns or he gets thrown out or something like that, then they can run again. But he can keep these people. So it's shocking, like, the amount of power that their prime minister and the head of their party can have. It's here, if you say anything against Blotus, his supporters will primary you. They'll throw you out through electing somebody else to take your seat or something like that. But he can't automatically say you're out of the party and you can't run on the Republican ticket again.
All right.
But these people, they stepped up, but he's completely. He wants to do a no deal Brexit, which. You voted to do this, but you were in partnership with everybody else. You can't just say, "Oh, the deal's off," and
we're leaving anyway. And, yeah,
right. There's trade agreements that are in place with all kinds of, and that nationalism thing. Yeah, it doesn't work in a partnership. And he called for like new elections, and they voted that down. So
one guy left the party,
Right.
and switched sides. Like,
Right.
he went from the conservative to the liberal, and he lost the majority vote.
Right. Because it's razor thin, and the same thing here. It's like,
It is wafer thin.
so, it's funny because in the past week there was a clip, and I don't know where he was, but Blotus, there's a little black girl, like he was going to take a picture.
Oh, that's fake. That's the president's show.
That's the president's show. But in England, that actually happened. Like, he's walking and he goes to shake the man on the hand street, and in the most English polite way, he asked him, "Could you please leave our town?" That was not on their version of the president's show. That actually happened, but yeah, but it is. It's hard to tell the difference between the president's show or Veep. I mean, if we're going to get into it now, because that was my first thing. It wasn't the first thing, but Sharpie Gate.
Yeah.
Is it hysterical, or is it tragic that is the leader of the free world?
It can be both. It can be tragically hysterical and hysterically tragic. It's So if you, in case you haven't heard, so Hurricane Dorian it slammed the Bahamas. It was a Category 5 hurricane. It was moving at 1 mile an hour, devastated the Bahamas. It was on landfall for about 36 hours, and it was headed towards the States, headed towards Florida, and early projections showed the cone of possible wind force and where areas would be affected and how much damage or wind they should be expecting from the first landfall of Dorian on the U.S. Eastern seaboard. And obviously Florida was, the first state. But at the very perimeter of the early reports, they thought maybe Alabama, maybe as far as Alabama, might get like 20-mile-an-hour winds, a couple of windmills would be, affected, or, weather vanes.
Cancer machines.
Yeah, exactly. So that stuck with the president of the United States, so much so that even days afterwards, when the projections had changed and it looked like, no, that it's not going to be affecting that far inland, it's going to go right up the coastline, the president still tweeted, well, this is going to affect Alabama and Florida. And then when they had to do a actual presentation of, what the current latest projections were and what the FEMA response was going to be, there was an Oval Office meeting where they had printed out a map of the most recent projections of
They being the Weather Service.
right. The National Weather Service printed out a map of Florida and the eastern seaboard and the current projections of Hurricane Dorian, and it showed the hurricane affecting most of Florida and kind of just stopping short of the Panhandle. But the president wasn't satisfied with that because he had just recently tweeted Alabama was included in that, that devastation cone. So what did he do? He took a Sharpie, off camera, of course. He didn't know. He denied knowing how it even got there. But there was this black marker bubble that extended beyond the National Weather Service's predictions to include Alabama, just so the president didn't have to admit that he was wrong in a tweet. And he doubled down day after day after day. Yeah.
Now, do you give him credit for knowing where Alabama is on a map? The fact that he could find it.
You are looking on the positive side of things, and I like that.
What does a hurricane in Alabama and a white trash divorce have in common?
What?
One way or another, some guy's losing his trailer. Hurricanes are funny.
They are. They really can.
But yeah, I mean, it's like that kind of insanity. So they've been talking. They've been the Republicans for years, but it's moved forward, defunding the National Weather Service and privatizing it. Like, that was something that Romney had talked about when he was running for president. That is still one of those things. They want to privatize everything. If you have a fucking wingnut like this who can, overseeing it. I mean, it's the number of scientists that they've lost, that the Weather Service has lost, and these other government agencies, the FDA and stuff like that we've talked about, the EPA. They have literally gutted the science aspect of all these things. That's just the most fucked of the fucked. And at the same time, just a week ago, we were talking about how he just took money away from FEMA, to put towards the wall as a hurricane is bearing down on, the Bahamas are gone. They're ruined, I guess. They're just completely flattened, which is...
It's not completely flattened, but yeah, yes, a lot of the Bahamas are just, and this is their second worst hurricane, apparently.
But it's the first level 5. Am I saying it right? Category 5 that the president's ever heard of. The first one.
Right. He didn't even know that they can go Category 5.
Now, there's been 4 other ones since he's been president. And I guess there was I forget which one of the hurricanes that he, as a private citizen in the Trump organization, got a lot of flack for, and there was an investigation applied. I don't remember which hurricane hit, quote unquote, hit Mar-a-Lago, like about 10 years ago, and they got like $1 million, and I'm trying to think of the right word for it, not like restitution, but compensation or something like that for damage done and all that stuff. And people are like, yeah, the sign fell off the front door. It's like your vacancy sign, fell down because. But yeah, I mean, that's a kind of just fucked up thing. It's like the fact that you would tweet out and like you said, double down on everything. When he was corrected about it, he's like, I've never heard of one of these. It's like, yeah, here's the other ones.
And the Daily Show played a clip of him at a rally mentioning a Category 5 hurricane, and at the rally like months ago or a year ago saying, I didn't even know they could go to Category 5.
Was that the one with the big water? With the big water? Ocean water? Was that the one where he was?
The biggest, the wettest, yeah.
I mean, everything. Anyways, he's just a dumb fuck.
Although the bright side of the Sharpie gate is that the memes
was the best. What was your favorite? My favorite, I'll go first.
Yes, please.
Somebody took one of like him on the golf course wearing his stupid white shirt, and they Sharpied him like broad shoulders and abs on him.
There's lots of them. There's ones where he's standing next to Melania holding an umbrella over his own head, and then they Sharpied in an extension of the umbrella over her head so that they could say that now he's a gentleman. There's another one where a ball that he putts on his golf course is shy of the hole, but they cross out the actual hole and draw a real hole over the golf ball.
Or the one where they had all the stick figures, lining the route of his inauguration, like filling all the plague with people.
Or the ones with the big hands around his small hands.
Those are. It was. Yes, we're laughing about the world burning.
But don't we always laugh at with the word.
Some
people just want to laugh at the word burning.
So so we already talked about him like last week taking money for FEMA. This week he's literally taking candy from babies. He's pulling money from the fund for daycare for military families to put towards the wall. Did you cover that? I mean, that's something where if you're like, okay, let's make up the stupidest shit. Let's talk about the stupidest shit that could never possibly happen. Fucking with children of the military families early education fund to build the wall because apparently Mexico hasn't sent a check or their check bounced.
See, no, but I think actually that didn't they backtrack on that? Didn't they rescind that plan?
I haven't heard if they rescinded, but the outcry. I mean, who you cannot ever say support the troops and literally be telling the people, stationed in Kuwait right now. It's like, yeah, your wife or your husband is going to have to figure out something about daycare because we're defunding the daycare program we have for deployed soldiers' children. But my favorite thing this week is Mike Pence went to Ireland. And I think people are overlooking. There is now an actual investigation going on because he stayed at a Trump property. And the 60 people detail and who flew over with him all had to stay on the Trump property. The property isn't doing well in Ireland. And, the whole emoluments clause, you go down that thing. The big thing is he was over there to meet with the prime minister, who's a 4-hour flight away. So literally you were staying on the other side of the country. And people are making a big deal, and rightfully so, about the emoluments clause and paying the Secret Service people to have to stay at the room and all this stuff. I think people are overlooking Mike Pence is just such a homophobe and the Prime Minister of Ireland is gay. Is he staying as far away as he possibly can? Because it is true. Gay Irish people are contagious. I don't know.
I was waiting for a punchline, man.
No, there's no punchline. But it's like, are we overlooking that could have been one of the reasons? And the reason Mike Pence was in Ireland is he was stopping over on his way to Poland, where the president was supposed to go, couldn't make it because it was a commemoration of the 80th anniversary of World War II starting. The war actually started. The official start of the war was when, the Blitzkrieg,
Kristallnacht and all that.
Rolled into Poland. And Trump congratulated them on, congratulate the great people on their 80th anniversary. 3 million Polish Jews died in the war, but 1/5 of the entire Polish population died in World War II. And as soon as we liberated, got the Nazis out of Poland for the next 50 years, they were ruled under Stalin and it's like, and we're congratulating.
I mean, it's almost like, it's like he's like, again, going back to being the Sharpie weatherman, like he was like Willard Scott. And congratulations to Poland on their 80th anniversary.
I mean, like I told you, I think it's hysterical when I give a bar mitzvah card out for somebody's Christmas, or give a Christmas card out on your birthday. I've been doing that gag. Let's see, carry the one forever. But can we go one day without either a huge scandal or just being a dumb fuck? Just one. Can we get one day? And usually it's a scandal that he covers up by being a dumb fuck, or the dumb fuckery leads into a scandal.
Yep. Yeah, I know. It's exhausting. It's exhausting, but too bad. Fuck you.
All right, I'm going to go cry.
Why?
I don't know, because we got a defunct sponsor now.
Oh, hi. I'm getting ready for the Jerry Lewis Labor Day Telethon. Labor Day, September 3rd and 4th. The biggest show of the year. And we're going to have a lot of people on it, like Bert Stern, Harry Rowley, Mildred and Phyllis DeSimon, the Kate Colvin brothers, Maud Porry and his dog, the two chimps and Barasini's sister and his mother's place. So don't forget, September 3rd and 4th, whatever year you tune in, it'll be on this show. Okay, sport.
Of course, this post the morning after. Actually, the game ended around midnight, and this post around midnight. So Joe and I are right now basking in the glory, which is the 1-0 Patriots who beat the Steelers at Gillette. It was nothing like 2 years ago at the banner ceremony where the Kansas City Chiefs came in and kicked them in the mouth and the balls and all that good stuff. But this week, Joe, this past week, it was the most Oakland Raider-y of Oakland Raider weeks. So Antonio Brown, who I think by all accounts can be put in the piece of shit category. Most of your big name wide receivers, tend to be diva douchebags. He really has taken up a notch. I mean, and I've always loved the fact that, I think Antonio Brown in his career is something like 1-5 in games played against the Patriots. A couple of those are AFC title games. Fun fact, it's like when you talk to real experts, the second highest paid people in football are your wide receivers and your corners. That's the game's a passing game. The guy who throws the ball, the guy who catches the ball, the guy who tries to keep you from catching the ball. Those are the big paid positions. And those tend to be, the receivers and the corners tend to be your drama queens. But Antonio Brown is also in that category where you look at the greatest wide receivers in the past 20 years in football, like the past 30 years in football. You go down, I'll say 20. I'll say this millennia. You can count on one hand the number of these diva wide receivers who have been paid more money than God who've won the Super Bowl. Now, a lot of them have made the Super Bowl, but you can't go down the list of the great wide receivers. Terrell Owens never won a Super Bowl. Randy Moss never won a Super Bowl.
Jerry Rice.
That's what I say. But since Michael Irvin with the Cowboys in the 90s, granted, Atlanta almost won it, and they have two great receivers on their team. There was a couple, absolute great receivers out there who've come close, but winning the Super Bowl does not depend on a top flight household name, future Hall of Famer. And who's a wide receiver out and with the Arizona Cardinals, played 20 years in the league. I'm blanking on his name. He's great. But you go down, look at the top 10 receivers in football the last 10 years. And the only one who's won a Super Bowl is pretty much Julian Edelman. And he is, honestly, I'm not kidding. He is paid like 1/15th, 1/14th what Antonio Brown is. So Antonio Brown shot his way out of Pittsburgh. Like he's so great, but they got so tired of his shit. Like they needed to win the last game of the season last year to have a chance at the playoffs. They had to win and two teams had to lose. They benched him. Like his bullshit and missing practice that week, they're like, fuck it, it's not worth it. We need to win this game. And he showed up. And people didn't even think he was going to show up. He showed up on the sidelines, and I believe he had borrowed Joe Namath's 1970 big fur coat that he was standing on the sideline. And so he shot his way out of town. And the Oakland Raiders, who are soon to be the Las Vegas Raiders, this is their last year, they're going to suck this year. You can give them the greatest wide receiver. They have a marginal quarterback who they know is on his way out. They're playing for draft picks. They're playing for next year and the year after. John Gruden has a 10-year contract for $100 million and part ownership of the Oakland Raiders. That's what they had to give him to come out of the booth to get back into coaching. He's not going anywhere, so he can suck. You can also suck because you're leaving the city you're in this year. So it's not like you're worried about alienating the fan base and having 2 or 3 crappy years. They kind of want to have a crappy year to get higher draft picks the next couple of years. But for some reason, they decided they had to get Antonio Brown, and they have to pay him $30 million.
For how many years?
Well, no, it's a $30 million signing bonus.
Oh.
He gets like something like $18 million a year, but a $30 million guaranteed signing, bonus but all in the off season. Now, I haven't followed this because I haven't followed sports, but I've caught up. I made up for lost time. He, I guess, has had a problem with his helmet. So he wouldn't come to training camp because the helmet he had, and the same, Brady was in this category. The league changed helmets 2 years ago, but last year you could be grandfathered in to wear the helmet you want it one more year. But starting this year, you have to have, these better helmets. He couldn't find a helmet that he liked, so he didn't come to training camp. He sat out all of training camp. He sat out everything. Like this week is like the first time he's back in camp because he had all these issues, and he was getting these huge fines for not showing up in camp. And then he got fined by the team, which happens all the time. But usually when you're negotiating with a team, yeah, we're going to fine you $10,000 a day for not showing up, but it gets blown away. It's not a league fine where you can just forgive it. I guess the team didn't forgive it, and he got a letter from the team saying, here's what you're being fined, and here's why. He took a picture of it and posted it online saying, like, my own team hates me, or haters got to hate, one of those classic, things. Which the team said, look, you can't do that. Your contract, this is detrimental to the team. You can't pull this shit. I guess he got into a screaming fight at practice 2 days ago or last Thursday, threatened to hit the GM, allegedly called him a cracker, but some people said he did say it, some people say he didn't. And the team was like, the talk around the NFL is like, okay, where's he going to be playing in 2 weeks? Because he just shot his way out of Oakland. Oakland has to be smart enough to realize you got yourself in a world of hurt. That this guy was a fucking nut job on a playoff team that should have been in a couple more Super Bowls than they were the last couple of years. You're not going anywhere with them. Here's your get out of paying him $30 million card, because to get out of paying that guaranteed money is if you cut him, not because he didn't make the team, because the thing's detrimental to the organization. I guess one of the reasons also that he didn't make it, and I haven't looked it up, he did something like he froze his feet in the off season. He had some kind of
like cryogenic therapy.
You heard about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like deep freezing body parts to it's like a muscle therapy.
Which resulted in some kind of like freezer burns. Like he literally couldn't practice for a month because he fucked his feet up.
Yeah, you got to put the Ziploc bags around him first.
that bag. And so he couldn't practice because he fucked his feet up. Then he wouldn't practice because he didn't have the right helmet. This is a guy who doesn't want to play football. And so
who is he, Andrew Luck? Oh,
so the talk was, and it's always the talk. Oh, he's going to go to the Patriots. You Corey Dillon, Randy Moss, all these reclamation projects, and everyone's like, well, first of all, no, he wouldn't work here. Second of all, you don't need him. Yeah. Look, I live for Julian Edelman, but he doesn't strike. I mean, the funny thing is, he doesn't strike fear into the opponents because he catches these 7-yard passes and runs for 5 more. He's not this track star who catches these 60-yard passes. So, and it does, and we've talked about it a number of times. Jules catching 4 10-yard passes, working the way down this field to score a touchdown that's ran in by Sony Michel from the 1-yard line doesn't count as much as a 60-yard bomb that you stretch out and you tap the toes in the back of the end zone. They're not nearly as mean as much.
Right.
They don't.
They don't.
So yeah, we don't have Gronk. So it's like the talk is he's coming here. The talk is where is he going to go? And then the Oakland Raiders say, no, it's fine. We worked it all out. And I'm like, dude, you got out of it.
Right. I think people who hate football more than maybe Antonio Brown might be the Oakland Raiders. The management of the Oakland Raiders. I mean, that family is renowned for just fucking things up and just getting in their own way and just mishandling all of these incidents and
historically, Mark Davis has taken over for his dad, Al Davis.
Yes. Great guy.
Say what you want about Al Davis.
Oh, he's a fuck. Oh.
The NFL does not exist as we know without Al Davis. Al Davis, Lamar Hunt, probably Paul Tagliabue, and maybe Vince Lombardi. They made football what we know it as today. Like truly, Al Davis made the NFL what it is today. It wouldn't exist to the level it does. It wouldn't have had the success. That said, he outlived his usefulness by 30 years. Through when he was still running the team. So he died 9 years ago, something like that. But through the 90s, like when they were in LA, they wanted in 87, 86, 87, 87, 88 in LA. And they were a great team. But he was drafting in the 90s, in the early 2000s. The game had completely changed by that point, and he was still drafting the same way and had the same principles and didn't evolve. If you've seen this, there's a couple documentaries. It's like Marcus Allen is one of the greatest running backs of all time. Marcus Allen 100% goes down as the greatest running back, better than Deion Sanders,
And Barry Sanders.
better than Barry Sanders, better than Emmitt Smith, better than, what am I blanking on his name, from the 50s, 60s, from the Cleveland Browns?
Oh, Jim Brown.
Jim Brown. But the problem was Mark Davis hated him so much, he kept benching him all the time. He would demand from his coaches that once you get into the red zone, Marcus Allen comes off the field. Like, so they would rather he would rather kick field goals than have Marcus Allen score touchdowns. So Marcus Allen would get the ball from the 20 to the 20, be the best running back because of Al Davis. And there was this great documentary, on it. But Al Davis has fucked up. His son is one of the, and we've talked about it, half the NFL is being run by sons or grandsons or great-great-grandsons.
Yeah.
Of teams.
Yeah, Jonathan Kraft.
He will be taking over undoubtedly. The Rooneys, with Pittsburgh and the Giants. Anyways,
Jets.
they're all a bunch of fuckheads. But Mark Davis is like, I cannot believe that they have this opportunity to get out from under. He has been literally nothing but a PR nightmare, a horrible teammate, a horrible person to have on your roster. And he hasn't touched the ball once. Like, he hasn't played in the preseason games. He hasn't dressed. He hasn't been in training camp. This was a perfect opportunity to say, fuck, we don't need this.
You think it was the Mass Pirates guy?
You think it was Jawad Yatim, Yatim from the Mass Pirates, who I thought was the biggest fuckhead in all of football. But no, I guess Mark Davis and John Gruden are the fuckiest of fuckhead.
Well, there's counting down the biggest fuck-ups in management in the NFL and the football arena.
So since we talked and did our Patriots preview, a couple things have happened. The Miami Dolphins. Now, I'm going to preface by saying Miami will still beat the Patriots this year in at least one game. They could win 3 games.
I predicted they were going to beat them next week, right?
Right.
Or this week,
Game two coming up.
Yeah.
However, and I still think you're right. I know you're right. But Miami, since we posted our podcast last Thursday, decided we're going all in on Tankapalooza 2019. And I think it was the hour after we were done recording, they traded away their absolute stud, someday will be in the Hall of Fame lineman, for a bunch of draft picks. And they made Ryan Fitzpatrick their quarterback. Now,
so they just evacuate their team for the hurricane?
They pretty much did the guy who saw it by letting him get out of town before Dorian got there. But seriously, you can't. I think there are laws against like the fire sales. Like, a couple teams have done that in professional sports. Like it was, not the Rays. Who's the other team in South Florida in baseball?
The Marlins.
Florida Marlins. They actually made it to the World Series like 12 years ago. The fans were excited. It was their best season. They sold out on season tickets, and literally the week before the season had what was called a fire sale, and they got rid of everybody. And there was all these season ticket people trying to sue up. Well, Miami is one of those teams where if they fuck up and win 6 games, they go from drafting number 3, 4, 5 to drafting 12th or 15th. The worst. And I feel bad because Brian Flores, who was our defensive coordinator, who put the scheme together to hold the Rams to 3 points in the Super Bowl, is their head coach. And they know they're going to suck. Ryan Fitzpatrick is interesting. Once he throws a touchdown pass, and he will throw a touchdown pass maybe in game 1, maybe in game 2 or 3, he will be the first quarterback in NFL history to have thrown a touchdown pass for 8 different teams. And the funny thing about him, first of all, he's I don't know if he was drafted, or if he was drafted, he was a late draft, but he's from Yale. Name the great quarterbacks from Yale. and the last century. In the 1940s, man, they were a powerhouse. I think All-Star Tommy was a freshman in 1940 when they won. But honestly, he's one of these guys, and he is the perfect guy to play against the Patriots, because whether he played for the Jets, whether he played for the Bills, now he will be playing against the Patriots for the Miami Dolphins. He's played for every team in our division against us. You see the week before, he throws one interception, or throws 3 interceptions and 1 touchdown for 102 yards and got sacked 6 times. Beats the Patriots by 13 points the next week. I mean, he really plays the Patriots well. And last year for Tampa Bay, he came in and he ended up starting 8 games and winning like 6 and lost 1 in overtime. I mean, he has these flashes but he's a career 400 quarterback. When you name him your starting quarterback in his like 12th season, 13th season, and you just traded away the one guy in the line who could possibly protect him for 2. But that's the thing. They got 2 first-round draft picks. So Miami, after we went off the air, the Texans got rid of their big linebacker, who they had franchise tags for draft picks. So they're not completely conceding the season. Miami is pushing all chips in for 2020-2021 season. Andrew Luck steps away, which it's funny. We talked about Andrew Luck, but since our last podcast, Jacoby, the starting quarterback for the Colts, our third-string quarterback 2 years ago, is now being backed up by our backup quarterback the last 2 years, Brian Hoyer, who the Patriots released. It's like, so just because you got everybody who was in the quarterback room with Tom Brady doesn't mean you're getting. And it's funny because they also had Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels took the job a year and a half ago and like signed the paperwork, started hiring assistants, and then thought, what the fuck? Yeah. Like when help me out here. It's a Wonderful Life.
Jimmy Stewart.
When he shakes his hand when he takes a job.
Well, is it a deal or isn't it? Oh, it's a deal. Okay, Mr. Potter. Wait a minute. No. This is all wrong. I don't need 24 hours. I know my answer now, and it's no. Good doggone it. You sit around here and you spin your webs and you think the whole world revolves around you. Well, it doesn't, Mr. Potter. In the vast configuration of things, I would say you were nothing but a scurvy little spider. And that goes for you, too. The end.
No, he tells the lady, too.
Right, I know.
For you.
And that goes for you, too.
I think that's what happened. Josh McDaniels signed paperwork, started hiring assistants, and then shook Jim Irsay's hand. Fun fact. Inherited the team from his father.
Man, these are like plantations.
They really are,
How are these guys not slave owners?
They were. Where do you think they made their money?
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah. So Josh McDaniels almost went there. It's like the Colts hate the Patriots and they were behind all but yet they can't wait to sign our free agents. So basically the NFL AFC comes down to Pittsburgh. We'll see how they do. Kansas City Chiefs and the Patriots. And I'm thinking we should just play a round robin 2 games against each of these teams to find out who gets home field advantage. And because honestly, the Chargers could be good too. The Chargers, but Phillip Rivers is one of those guys. He could be Phillip Rivers. He could be Phyllis Rivers. He can have 2 or 3 great games. He can have 4 in a row where it might as well be me throwing left-handed.
Or a woman.
Women are funny.
Or good quarterbacks, apparently.
Let's see. So the last 2 things I wanted to talk about sports, and it's becoming a little bit of a thing, and I get it, but I think it's getting a little overblown. Drew Brees, from what I understand, is a good guy. Was a huge part about helping rebuild, after the Katrina, thank you. Time, money. I mean, I think he's an overrated quarterback when people say, because he's a year younger than Brady and he has like the most yards passed, but he's missed the playoffs half of his career. It's like Sean Payton is his coach. And he's supposed to be a great coach. And I'm not saying he's not a very good coach and Brees isn't a very good quarterback, but you can't put him in the same category with a team who's missed the playoffs once since 2001 if you've missed half the time. If you've won 1 Super Bowl, versus being to 9. You don't put him in the same breath. But I guess he's a Bible thumper. And he just did a PSA for Bring Your Bible to School Day coming up, supported by a group called Focus on Family.
Oh, good.
Which is a absolute. They have spent more time and money fighting the LBTQ umlaut community, are all for forced abortion and are literally, and part of the thing is bring your Bibles to school and maybe, help coach up the people who don't know that Jesus Christ is the Lord and Savior. And the only way to keep from damnation is to follow their lead, which, it's like, I'm not saying, you don't have a religious right to believe in it. I just think, maybe in the public school having to bring your Bible to school day. Anyway, so he's getting a lot of crap for doing PSAs for.
Oh, okay. Well, does he know all that, or is he just?
Oh, there's no way. He is. He's a. I cannot say the word. Forgive me. An evangelical. Yeah, he's a proud. He doesn't.
For him, homophobia is a breeze.
You see what he's done there? So I thought that was interesting. So. As I've talked about not talking about the Patriots and not listening to sports radio, past week I've made up for lost time. The NFL Network had their Do Your Job Part 3, the yearbook of the Patriots. They also had the America's Game. Like, they had 2 different shows highlighting the 2019 season, the NFL Network did. And what I enjoy most about those 2 programs, and what I've enjoyed most about listening to the 2 sports radio stations this week getting ready for the game, is the montages of maybe 20 clips, 25 clips of your Max Kellerman, your Roy Parker. I'm trying to think of the other one's name. Your Colin Cowherd. Your top.
Wait, who?
Colin Cowherd.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah,
Cowherd.
Right, yeah, Cowherd, yeah.
All these national talking hosts, their predictions before last season, and as the Patriots started off 2-2, and then late in the season they own December. Like, the Patriots winning percentage in the month of December, like September is always Buffalo's month. We talked about that. Buffalo went 4-0 in the preseason, and they're bragging about that. So now they celebrate August, but the Patriots usually start off slow. Like, September is their preseason. Tom Brady usually only plays a quarter or a half in the 3rd preseason game. He doesn't play in the first 2 or the 4th one. No reason to. Somebody trying to make a name for themselves as a linebacker, on the Tennessee Titans in week 1 of preseason, taking Tom Brady out. So they usually look at that. But the Patriots are like an 850, 900 winning percentage in the month of December under the Belichick-Brady era. Last year, they lost 2 games in a row. The miracle in Miami they had, the Steelers beat them, and all the stations, and on those 2 documentaries on the NFL Network, not local things, have montages of the end of the dynasty. This is over. It's not a blip. His arm is gone. He has a noodle arm. You look at, the whole, and it's like funny because people were like a little upset because, Brady, when they beat the Chargers, on the sideline was doing the interview. It's like, yeah, I know people say we're too old and we suck and we can't win on the road, because they couldn't. They lost 5 games last year. All 5 of them they lost on the road. And now they were going into Kansas City, and it has got me ready to run through a wall, jacked up. There's nothing. Next to winning, the only thing I like more is listening to all the people who didn't pick against them, didn't say, well, the Patriots are great, but the Chargers are hot, and I'm going to go with the Chargers. But they all have to make a name for it, because eventually they're going to be right.
Yes.
Eventually.
Right. The end is nigh.
Right.
These are all like televangelists, screaming at the top of their lungs, repent now, the Patriots are the devil. And
the world's going to end.
Their world is going to crumble, and I'm the first to tell you about it.
And the day that Brady falls off a cliff, Max Kellerman's going to say, "Look, 2 months ago I said that. Max, you said it 5 years ago. Yes, but I also said it 2 months ago." But it has. And so many people like before, I don't know why Patriot fans are so defensive and always. It's like, dude, it's like. listen to everybody else in the world. It's not in my head or your head, Joe, or a friend like John's head, who I'm always talking about. It's
or in Ted's head.
Or
you know
or
Ted.
You know Ted.
You got a foreclose on Ted?
No, that's a loan.
Right. You pay that back when you can.
But seriously, it has made my week semi bearable with listening to last year's, and again, it wasn't one or two people. It wasn't just this outlet or that outlet. There is a whole industry that's been built up the last 5 years where all these people own their careers. And why a Ray Parker keeps getting on the NFL Today and Good Morning Football and all these shows as an expert. Because he doesn't have takes on the Kansas City Chiefs or the Cleveland Browns.
Who gives a shit?
Their whole thing is, this is how the Patriots suck and why. And this is because, again, the Patriots last year, they draft a running back. He doesn't play the first 4 games because he has a knee injury. And he had knee injuries in college. And even people like me are like, maybe not use a first-round draft pick on somebody who had knee injuries all throughout college who hurt his knee. And the same thing. They finally go out. This is the first time in like 10 years they use their first-round draft pick on a wide receiver who's now on the IR, who's not going to be playing. He can't practice with the team till week 8. It's like, and the whole Belichick can't draft and he doesn't develop talent well. And they do have the oldest roster on the league. They're also... The talk is also about how he can't draft. Brady's older. They're the oldest team. They don't have Gronk. Are they going to the AFC title game? Oh, yeah, but they're probably going to have to play on the road, man. They've fallen off the cliff. So
you see what happens when he doesn't talk about the Patriots for about 3 months? I honestly, he probably could have done this every week for 3 months.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
Just to myself in my room, and I worked hard. Okay, now, do you have any thoughts on the Patriots?
No,
that we didn't cover last week. All right,
I have no thoughts on the
Drew Brees hates gays.
So you say.
But okay, so now we'll move on to your domain. What have you been playing this week?
What have I been playing? Not too much, actually. I mean, the only news on the Nintendo front is there's a new Smash characters involved, like the Super Smash Brothers game.
Who are they?
Banjo-Kazooie it's a video game from the Nintendo 64 era that was developed by a company named Rare. They are now owned by Microsoft. So Microsoft technically owns the licensing to the characters Banjo-Kazooie. So it was sort of a Disney Marvel or Sony Marvel kind of agreement where Microsoft allowed Nintendo to use their licensed properties in a Nintendo game. And of course, during the announcement, the person who developed Super Smash Brothers had to jokingly do a plug for, oh, by the way, you can also play the original Banjo-Kazooie, now available on Xbox One. And he's doing this during a Nintendo broadcast. So it was like one of those things where it's just like one hand washes the other kind of stuff. So that's new. And the other thing is that now on Nintendo Switch, if you have the Nintendo Online, you can not only play old Nintendo games, you can now play old Super Nintendo games.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they've unveiled, I think, 20 titles, and they're all like really good stuff. Like, so if you've never played and you always wanted to play Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo, you can. The kids today now can play Super Mario World. They can play Legend of Zelda. You don't have to buy those little.
Have these games been on emulators before?
Yeah. They've been emulated to death. But I mean,
you can't play it on this platform.
Exactly. You can now play it on the go if you wanted to. But it's more about it's for the kids. And there's a lot of like deep cuts in there that are really good titles. So
have you played Smash?
A little bit. I mean, I played Smash like 2 iterations ago when it was on the Wii. I kind of got into it because it had the Wii version had a single player mode, so like a story mode. So I can relate to that. I hate online gaming, playing multiplayer bullshit. Fuck it. I like a one player story. loner loser in the basement. That's what I like, and I know you can't relate to that at all.
Not one bit.
But this version is more about the online matchups and playing with your friends and building your character and all that shit. And it's like, okay, there's some achievement. There's achievements you can get in Smash, but I just haven't gotten into it. I'm old.
Your oldest is a big Smash guy.
Yes,
and he plays a snake. Is his jam?
I guess I don't even know anymore. I don't talk to him that much, so he doesn't. I guess.
I think my little guy likes. I almost said Cupid.
Kirby.
Kirby.
Yeah, because Kirby has the ability to replicate the enemy's powers.
I think the first time I saw that was at your house, and I was watching the boys play with your guys, and I'm like, hard pass.
Yeah.
These floating things, and I was interested in watching the things in the background, but I'm like, so
right, because the backgrounds are all themed to different video games, and they're
and as the points go up, it's like you take damage, and I'm watching go up, and I'm like 108% or 150% damage, but you're still
how are you still around?
Yeah,
like you can get up to like 300% damage and still barely making it. Yeah, it's a weird game, but very popular.
Yeah, kids love it.
Yeah,
I doubt it because we've got too many things going on this weekend, but a while ago I bought, and obviously it's old because Telltale isn't around anymore. There's a Telltale Batman game that the little guys, I forget where I think they played it on our system. It was like you could get chapter 1 for free, and they downloaded it one day, and I finally got the disc when we were in California because, drive 3,000 miles to go to a GameStop there.
Well,
And, but I did. I got it, and I haven't played it. But it's like one of those things where I keep seeing, and the boys are like, "Oh, you haven't played this yet?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to play it on a weekend when you fucks aren't around, like when I can enjoy it and really get into it and stuff
immersed.
like that."
Yeah,
I think that's why I keep going back to playing like Resident Evil 5 sometimes, because it has that mode where you can sit down and play a 10-minute game. And you can jump online and play like a 1-on-1. You can team up with somebody too. And I do. It's so sad that I like when you see like you kind of play with a noob and you can get them, the highest badges, and it's like, it's like it's so pathetic how happy it makes me.
I get it. I mean, you know what? It's universal. I'm sure that you want to be able to pick up and play and just beat the shit out of somebody,
right?
Just
help somebody beat the shit. Like, I'd rather that. But it's like, but if I'm going to play this Batman thing. Yeah, I don't want you talking to me and play for 10 minutes and have to pretend to care about what management wants to yap about or anything like that. So because
so is that what we're going to be doing tonight?
You're going to watch me play. So Joe had to bring the whole studio here today.
That's right.
And knowing that is the most popular part of the podcast, other than signing off, is a random video game review. So he brought. Why don't you hand me the package and explain to the good folks what I'm rummaging through?
So typically, Jacques pulls a game off of my Nintendo Entertainment System collection on my basement shelf, but I couldn't fit that in my car. So instead. And I don't think we've actually ever done this before on the Random Video Game Review because these games aren't typically on my shelf. I brought my collection of Game Boy games and some Game Boy Advance games in there. So it's about a dozen or so, maybe 10 Game Boy games, original Game Boy games, and some of them are quite nice, and some of them are Game Boy Color games. Some of them are Game Boy Advance games. Those are the smaller ones on the side there. But that's a different generation. Why don't we stick with the Game Boy? Game Boy games.
I can't really do a random video game review because you can't see what's in here anyway. So.
I know, right? Exactly. I'm gonna have to. Maybe you have to give me like a clue or something. Or you know what you could do? You know what you could do? You could I was gonna say turn them upside down and then I have to like pick them up, and say like, I'll take this one. Or I just reach into the box myself.
You could, but I think I found one.
All right.
That I'll give you a hint. I saw it, and I just fell in love with it. It's like,
let's see.
Kubert hit me. Like just.
Oh God, I'm trying to think of what I have for Game Boy games. You fell.
I have no idea if Cupid has anything to do with it.
Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus 2. All right.
Doesn't it look like a Cupid little guy?
Yeah, I thought you said Cupid. I'm like,
Cupid. Oh, yes. I do love Cupid.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. This is Kid Icarus. Oh man, I gotta open this little.
Did I really wear out? Am I remembering that wrong, or did I wear out a keyboard at that job we had in LA by playing Cupid?
I think you wore. Yeah, I think you did. Because I put that on your computer, and then you told me to take it off because you were just losing time. Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters. Man, this is the one game that I didn't play. Yeah, I haven't played this game much.
All right, why don't you rummage through blindly
right.
and pick out a. Paul, do you got any rummaging through a Game Boy bag music?
We're gonna rummage through the Game Boys. Rummaging through the Game Boys. Hallelujah, it's raining boys. Game Boys, yeah.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Let's see. I have in my hand the final Game Boy game. I have in my hand the last envelope.
Oh.
From Karnak.
Karnak.
Very deep, obscure cut.
Shisk Boom Ba.
Sis Boom Ba. What is a
Little Dolly Parton's breasts.
No, what's the name of what is the sound an exploding sheep makes? Here's a good one. Metroid 2, a game I've beaten.
Ooh.
Yes, Metroid 2, Return of Samus. This was recently remade for the Nintendo 3DS. A game which I also bought, which I haven't beaten. I'm kind of stuck on because it's not a one-to-one thing. It's like it's reimagined and all that shit. But Metroid 2, Return of Samus. Metroid is that kind of maze game where you're like an astronaut or some shit, and you have to defeat the Metroid aliens who are infecting a planet. And also defeat Mother Brain, who is, I guess, the leader of the Metroids. And it's a convoluted thing. But anyways, the game is mostly about figuring out the maze of the planet, finding missiles to armor yourself. There's like different weapons that you can pick up along the way to beef up your armor and your weaponry. And it's fun. And this is a nice addition to the Metroid library. There aren't that many Metroid games, but when they do come out, they are usually well received. And this one is known for its music and its sort of eerie atmosphere. It's kind of like Alien in a way. You know, that's sort of like you're on this sort of deserted planet that is, overrun by these Metroid aliens that you have to defeat. And it's fun, and it's got a beat, and I can dance to it.
And how many different iterations and versions of this game do you think you own? And how many are there?
So there's Metroid, the original Metroid for the NES. Then there's Metroid 2, which I'm holding right now for the Game Boy. Then there's Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo, which is a fantastic game that I've beaten.
What platform?
For Super Nintendo.
Okay.
That's also available on the Super Nintendo Online if you have that. And then there's what is it? For GameCube there was Metroid Prime, the 3 Prime games. Those were well received. Those are like 3D, like first person shooter kind of things. These are like more of like the side scrolling platformer type games. Yeah, and then there's the Metroid 2 remake that they came out, like I said, a couple of years ago for the 3DS, and it's fun, and but they're all very eerie, scary at times, very puzzle oriented, and it's very map oriented. Like you have to sort of you're eventually equipped with a map, and you have to determine where things are.
You have to find the map.
Yeah, like there's like in Super Metroid especially, like there's there are these little modules that you did. I guess you have to like you touch and then you download a portion of the map to your map directory. You know what I mean? So like you get like little bits and pieces of the overall planet map a little bit at a time. I don't know. It's fun.
Metroid. Metroid 2 for Game Boy. And maybe I'll play that tonight.
No, you won't. You're going to be watching either Shakes the Clown, the Citizen Kane of alcoholic clown movies, or maybe we'll watch Megamind. Maybe watch something completely different. Maybe we'll watch Endgame or Infinity War and Endgame, because I really don't think you can watch one without the other. But I think you're lying. I don't think you've seen Justice League.
I
think you've told me you have, so I won't make you watch it.
I don't want to watch Justice League. I thought it was
because it's good.
Thought it was
you guessed wrong.
God damn it.
Okay, so what are you watching?
One thing that I can sort of recommend for Netflix is the documentary Screwball. It came out a couple of years ago, but it just made it to Netflix, and it's about the A-Rod doping scandal.
Ooh,
it's really funny. The way the movie's produced, it involves and actually has participation from the doctor who supplied the human growth hormone and the steroids to Alex Rodriguez
and Peyton Manning.
We'll get no.
Is that on there?
Oh no, I mean, it's just one Miami doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
yeah, but they all went through there.
This isn't the Balco thing.
It's not the Balco. Okay.
No. This is this is something else. But this is just like Alex Rodriguez is probably like the highest profile guy, but it's told documentary style. They interview the guy who was the whistleblower who brought it to the attention of the Miami. I forget the name of the paper, like the Miami Post Gazette or whatever the fuck it's called.
Daily Bugle.
Yeah, but when they do the reenactments of the events, it's all done by like 12-year-olds, and it's so fucking great. It's really funny. It's really well done.
I'm in.
You got to watch it. We should watch that tonight. That's great, but we won't. But that is worth a view. It's a nice like 90-minute kind of documentary, and it shows it also shows like real footage of the news events or the news coverage surrounding the event.
That pitch must have been great. Okay, so here's our twist: we're gonna have a bunch of 12-year-olds.
But it's great because like they have a 12-year-old Alex Rodriguez, they have a 12-year-old the doctor. Like the doctor's telling his story about what he would do in one day, and it's done drunk history style. Uh-huh. So when they're reciting lines of things that they had said in the past, the kids are mouthing along to the dialogue. Yeah,
that's so great. Yeah. And I will watch this week.
Okay, so Screwball, and
it's Netflix.
Netflix. You
got through episode 6 of 8 of The Boys on Amazon. It got funnier and darker at the same time.
You're having a tough time getting through this one.
Watching it with management.
Oh,
like that's why
the old ball and chain.
I mean, I think this weekend Titans drops on DCU. Mm-hmm. I'll probably be done with that by Sunday night. You know what I mean, I'll get a good and I think there's 12 episodes this time around. I think there was only 8 last time. So yeah. So I'll need a good 13-hour window to get through this. Hopefully it's as good as last time. Very much looking forward to that. But yeah, that's because and of course, Do Your Job Part 3 and America's Game, the 2019 or 2018 New England Patriots. Mm-hmm. So and I will say, when I talked about Julian Edelman's documentary a couple weeks ago, man, he is my favorite player on the football field, but I don't need to see him talk much at all, But yeah, I'm still on The Boys. It is still great. Cool. More importantly, what do you got for a parenting tip here?
I don't know. I usually go to my parenting tip guru, Jacques.
I think it's important, Joe, each and every day you tell your kids how much you love them. And you make clear you really fucked up and I'm pissed at you. And it's everything I can do to not beat you within an inch of your life. But I still love you. So even when you are so close to wanting to beat them with an inch of their life, you take the time to tell them you love them.
Yep.
That's my parenting tip.
Okay,
Rick.
good. And that doesn't only apply to children. You know, if you want to beat anybody,
No.
yeah, you just tell them you love them as you're beating them to a
I don't know if
pulp.
there's anybody you want to beat more than your children sometimes.
Other people's children.
Oh, fuck them, yeah. Yeah, I mean, don't you miss the days when you could hit other people's children?
Can a man relax?
My neighbors do.
Right.
My whole neighbor do. All right. Joe, thank you for coming over.
Thank you for having me, and this has been a blast. So thank you at home for listening to us talk about bullshit. I don't know why I still do this. I do know why, because I need a friend. This podcast should be Joe Needs a Friend.
Like the Conan.
Yes, right. That's why I'm going with that. So yeah, Carnival Personnel is over for this week. Tune in next week, will you? Won't you? Why you? Why you? Don't forget,